Hey guys, welcome back. It's a beautiful mid-October day here in the Pacific Northwest. We have dry weather for the next few days. I am basking in the sun, the golden hours, all of the beautiful colors. And I thought today would be such a great day for a garden tour so we can see how everything is looking. Some things are not looking that hot, I'll be honest, because we're mid-October and we've had some cooler temps in the evening, but nothing too cold, thankfully. I'm just like crossing my fingers. We get a few more weeks out of some of our blooms and our dahlias and things like that. Anyways, I wanted to walk around and admire the garden one more time before we come in and start lifting up our annuals and getting things cleaned up. We're going to start out here in the driveway because we do have some plants right over here that are going to be for upcoming projects, and right behind me we also have a pallet of plants, but I did move the dahlias, so that's a step up. So all of this dahlias that we were growing from seed that we're breeding, those are out to the side garden, which doesn't look that great right now, but at least everything is pretty much cleaned up with the exception of some of those plants that we have that we were going to be again using for upcoming garden projects. The entryway looks so charming. I've been loving all of our pumpkins, all of the beautiful colors that we have in the front. It's so welcoming every time we come home and we just like see the pumpkins. We have the little flameless candles and they just make such a big difference. Like when we come in, everything is just so beautiful and calm and serene and it feels like fall. We love it. So right over here, we haven't really done much in this bed, I don't think, without you guys. I did plant up some of my new Japanese pansies. These are the Elegance series. We have Twilight and Antoinette. I actually planted them in different areas of the garden because I want to experiment with them and see how they do. Again, these are those double. Look at that. I cannot get enough of these. Like I really am growing quite obsessed with these little pansies. I think they're so elegant, hence the name, and they're just so fun to see every day. I don't know, I love looking at their little flowers. I did pop in our ferns right over here. They're not planted, they're in their containers, but these are going to be planted somewhere else in the garden. But I just thought, let's stage this garden a little bit right over here because it just looked so blank. So really not a lot of change to this bed, but I do plan on coming in and planting things, of course, right underneath the crimson Japanese maple, just because it's an empty area. We used to have a big hosta garden here and then we moved everything out just because we thought, well, this was mine and Sergey's battle. We kept going back and forth because he wanted all of the same hostas. I had all different hostas and I loved it. And I don't regret it because I did want to do something different here because the slugs just go crazy for them. So definitely excited to come in and start removing some of these other ones out that we left in and move those to the back of the garden. We definitely have some cleaning up to do in that corner over there. And if I swing you guys this way, I did start cutting back our smoke bush. So we talked about moving this just because it's so dense over here. And the whole idea with the smoke bush is to keep it small on the smaller side, but I do think we can do something a little bit more interesting in this bed. But I will say that color transformation is absolutely incredible. I love it. I love it so much. Love using them in arrangements. We have them in the corner over there in our entryway. And then throughout here, again, not a lot has changed. You can see that the annuals are definitely done for the season. They've been holding on to color like for a lot longer than I anticipated. I'm actually super pleased at how these bedding annuals did, but I'm also like ready to come in and just rip it out. We've been having a lot of rain, so our annuals got pretty beat up by that. But again, we're at that time of the year where they're pretty tired, they're ready to come out, they've served their purpose, and now I'm just ready to come in and just rip them all out. I do have a dahlia here, and this is one of my dahlias, and it's funny because when it opens, I'll pop up a picture for you guys. When it opens, it doesn't look so great, but as it ages, it gets bigger and bigger and it's so beautiful. It's definitely a single, but I'll pop up a picture for you guys to see how it looks. I'm obsessed with her. Like she is so cute. I am so excited for that dahlia. Now over here we have just a mess. Just the verbena that we planted got out of control. We do have some of the bright light cosmos. These self-seeded. And you know what? It's funny because it looks so messy to me, But we have so many people that stop by and admire this flower. Like they always ask, what is that? What is that? And they provide this really bright pop of color. And actually one of my friends has this too in her garden and she gets compliments on it. But anyways, it's a fun plant, I won't lie. And I like having it in the landscape. However, if we do use it again next year, I would like to keep it towards the back. Do you see how it kind of creates a little moment of like a pop of color, but it's airy. And so it's not overwhelming and like coming through a tree, but it just adds that little whimsy back there, if you can see it. If we swing around the corner, you can see that the plain of blue salvias, 10 out of 10, still recommend. Such a great annual. This was my first year growing it, and I definitely will be repeating this one in our garden next year. Look at how it's held up after all of the rain, after the windstorms that we've had. I mean, it's just, I'm so impressed with it. I really am. It's such a great annual and they get massive. So these are definitely going to be coming back into our garden next year. And if I swing you guys around this way, this is the new garden room that we're going to create. I want to come in and create something a little bit more formal, calming. This is really going to be centered around some of Sergey's favorite trees. I want to plant some Japanese maple. So this whole area, I hope to transform. I don't know what it's going to look like quite yet. We're still kind of brainstorming, or I am brainstorming ideas anyway. We are going to come in and clean up this rose in our neighbor's garden. So we actually are going to cut it way back, like way back. And that's going to provide a lot of airflow back here. And honestly, this rose is just very unhealthy. You can see there's only new growth at the top. Everything else is dead. So we're going to give it a major refresh. And same with the fig. Now you guys know we share a property line. So here's the fence where our property kind of cuts back. So we share this property line right here with our neighbor. And so it's nice because we get to play off of each other. There's a lot of ideas that I want to provide for this area of their garden next year. The fig is also going to be cut back pretty significantly because they can't reach any of those things up there. So we're going to change some of that. Of course, we did all of the beautiful cut flowers in their garden. So that was very successful and I'm excited to do that again. And if I swing back right over here, we have our little tree island, which is looking pretty good. We're definitely going to change a lot in this bed here. Starting out with these hydrangeas, I'm actually gonna cut them down. I wanna take the blooms. Now's a great time to harvest the blooms if you wanna dry them. Super easy to do. And I'm going to take these little limelight hydrangeas out of here just because they don't fit the space. I knew they weren't going to be here long term, but I had them on hand and I wanted to use them. So we're going to be moving those pretty quickly here actually because fall is such a great time to move plants. Don't mind this palette of plants. It just needs to get planted. We also came in and brought in more compost. So we got this whole area, the whole planting strip, all buttoned up for now. We still need to bring in some more plants, more ground cover, and probably some more smaller grasses in this area. But overall, we are so happy at the way this turned out. And I don't know, just having the compost in, it's going to benefit our soil tremendously, our plants. And it just gave a really beautiful finished look. You guys know in our previous video, I talked about how we use compost as mulch. We've done that really since day one, and it's really improved our soil health and our plants and all of that. So if you struggle with really bad soil, try compost. Compost is like the #1 thing I do. We also brought in a lot of Beaverton shredder fertilizer. I use it every time we plant anything, and that has helped the overall health of our soil so much. Like, it's incredible what those two things can do for your garden. And here on the other side, we also got everything buttoned up. A lot of you have been asking about these trees that we have on the planting strip. These are Venus dogwoods and they're glorious. We planted them a few years back. They were tiny, like little sticks, and they've put on so much growth. They have a beautiful fall color transition. These don't have that many fruit as you would typically see on these trees. And I feel like we get a better crop of fruits every other year. So it's not every year, but every other year. But either way, that color is just so beautiful, so glorious. And of course, they have the beautiful big white blooms in the springtime. And so it's such a good tree. Like, highly recommend. We planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on our planting strip. So we planted all of them in ours and then a couple in our neighbor's planting strip this last, what was it, last spring? I think we did it together, or no, late last winter or early spring, I can't remember. But anyways, those other ones will catch up to these bigger guys. These were planted again a few years back. So pleased with how everything looks. I am eager to plant more things. We got the bulbs in. We have more bulbs that we're going to be planting in the planting strip as well. So I'm excited to have a beautiful spring color show. And then also just to wait to see some of these plants put on more size. I don't want to crowd this area at all. I really want to leave it open and airy and come in with more ground cover, because I would like not to see a lot of open space, but I also don't want to fill it with a bunch of plants. So ground cover is going to be a pretty big element in this planting strip for us. It feels so good to have this new garden area, and it's really inspired Sergey and I to elevate our front beds as well. So we definitely want to make some changes to start connecting the two a little bit more, because I feel like over the years, I think few years since we've gotten this house, I've planted random things, sometimes not as methodical as I probably should be. So I'm excited to see what next year is going to be like. I'm already dreaming and planning for all of the new things that I want to bring into our garden, all of the things that I want to shift. And those things will probably start happening here pretty quick, because again, fall is a great time to transplant plants. And I just wanted to give you a view from this side. Again, not a whole lot of change has happened in this bed. You can see that the annuals over here are actually doing pretty good. The Superbina especially, I mean, it's starting to fade away, but just I would say maybe like 2-3 days ago, there was a lot more color on these. So I'm very impressed with them. We're probably going to do a different color palette next year, but repeat some of the same plant types, just use them a little bit more differently in our garden. So that is going to be very exciting. And I'm just again looking forward to seeing new things. Anyways, overall, we are super happy with this bed. Again, I think we just need to fine tune things, really be thoughtful about some of our staple plants. We have our trees. I think we're really happy with where they are. I think it's now just coming in with our shrubs. I do want to move this grass here, this redhead, because it's just out of place. Again, I don't know what I was thinking. You guys should have stopped me when I planted it here. Yeah, I think because the fluffy arborvitae here got pretty big pretty quick. I mean, we planted this not that long ago, and it's put on so much size, and I'm so happy with it. But that also means that this has got to go. The one over there is doing good, but I also feel like it would benefit more if it had more sun. So I might actually move that one as well and just leave our Carl Foresters back there, because it does fill in that gap quite nicely. And because this is my office, I'm able to see that grass kind of sway out the window. And I really like that movement. So I definitely want to keep it there, but maybe just give them a little bit more space, because we are going to be moving this one. And then of course we have annuals back there. So this whole area can just be, you know, it can be updated. It could be done better next year. So keeping that in mind for sure. I'm also realizing a garden is really never truly done. And I think that's what makes it so exciting, because there's always changes. There's always things you're going to want to do and move around and improve. So I think that's why it's so exciting and like the thing I love the most. All right, we are just going to quickly drive by in the side garden and not look at any of the bad things that are going on over here. Just keep on going, and then we land in the backyard where there's still a ton of beautiful things. A lot of beautiful borrowed views. You can see that the trees in our neighborhood are starting to transition into their beautiful fall color, and it's just a perfect backdrop for our garden. I absolutely love it. It just feels like there's a golden hue everywhere you look. I don't know if you guys can see it through the camera, but everything is almost like it's golden hour all of the time right now, and I love this time of year. So let's start out over here. You're going to see that our peonies have turned color and they look beautiful. I think we forget how great these are in terms of their fall color foliage, because peonies are pretty short-lived, but I actually love them for their leaves as well. These are great for making arrangements. They last a really long time, and there's just so many variation in the color. So that is also another really great reason to have peonies in your garden, not just for the flowers, but look at this beautiful color that we often forget about. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're considering buying peonies for your garden. Now, our Eden roses are doing really well. This one is struggling a little bit more. You can see black spot is back, but you know what? It's that time of year for us. I haven't really been spraying just because it's the end of the season and it's really hard to avoid this. It's just so wet for us that if I sprayed anything, it's going to get washed away. So I'm just going to come in and start slowly snipping some of these leaves off, especially the really, really bad ones like that, and just disposing of them in the garbage. But overall, I think they're doing pretty good. This one especially, it's funny how that one is struggling more than this one. You can see that they're still pushing out a little bit of color. So we still have some blooms. We still have some thrip damage throughout here too. So we really want to stay on top of our beneficial insects next year, but I am pretty pleased at how these have improved from the beginning of the season when they were just not doing so well because of some of those thrips and again the black spots pretty early on. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how the roses are looking. In fact, I think all of our roses probably have a little bit of color to them. Our Woolerton Old Hall, one right over here in the entryway of the cut flower garden, is just such a stunner. Really beautiful color, beautiful scent, really delicate little blooms. But look at that. Isn't that just so sweet? And the scent is delicious. I love this rose so much. The cut flower garden is definitely at the tail end of things. I am praying that we don't dip below 39 degrees because I still have to come in and tag the rest of our dahlias. I've started already, but there's still so many that I need to tag. And it's the most important thing on my list right now is to get these tagged before we get our frost. So everything else can wait. I told Sergey, this is like my main priority right now. I have to spend time with my dahlias and get them all tagged. Our zinnias are looking pretty bad. You can see that they have powdery mildew pretty badly towards the end of the season here. I don't really spray this time of year, again, just because it's inevitable. It's going to happen. And it's really because of that temperature fluctuation. And it's just one of those things that you can't avoid. I will say they got it pretty bad this year compared to last year. I didn't really struggle last year as much as I did this year with them. And I don't know if it's because they're not getting enough airflow in this corner of the garden, because I usually plant our zinnias right here. So I might bring them back into this bed next year. Our persimmon is putting on a lot of really great fruit. We probably will harvest, I think about mid to late November is when we typically harvest our persimmon. We do need to prune it back though. You can see that the branches are really heavy, and I don't know, I think Sergey and I are both like on the same page that this just needs to be pruned a little bit better. It's just so heavy on that side with the fruit, and we've already removed quite a bit of fruit. So we just need to come in and clean it up. The same thing with this fig. This fig got massive this year. This whole branch will be cut off. I think Sergey wants to cut this whole thing off because it's just growing not proportionally to the rest of the tree. And so we are very adamant about keeping our fruit trees really pruned up and beautiful and tidy. We don't want them to get out of control. And we also don't want them to get so tall that we have to climb up on a ladder to get the fruit. That's just not something we love for our garden. Now, of course, if we had a ton of space, I would of course let our trees just get big and wild, of course, but because this is a tighter space, we have to maintain the size of our trees a little bit more diligently. We like to grow fruit trees that are not only yummy to eat, but are beautiful in the landscape. So we have fig trees, we have persimmons. We used to have pluots, but we lost them probably a few years back during that really hard heat wave that we had. They didn't make it, and we just never planted them again. But figs and persimmons for sure are like at the top of our list of trees that are not only beautiful, but we also enjoy the fruit so much. But again, we always pay attention to the bark and the way that they grow, because that also adds another element of design into your landscape. So just something to keep in mind. A lot of the annuals in here will also be lifted. Super pleased at how everything did back here. Our fall containers are still looking beautiful and bright and colorful. I think once we come in and just remove these annuals, things are going to just feel a lot more airy back here, which I'm very excited about. We also have to come and cut some of our lilies and our hostas. Those are the hostas that we transplanted earlier on. Our clematis also needs our attention. So it's just time. It's time to come in and just start tidying things up a little bit. I think especially with the annuals for us, and everything else will just kind of, you know, let things do their things and, you know, take it slow. If you're new here, you're going to see a lot of plants in their nursery cans. These are just things that we've purchased that we need to plant into the garden. And a lot of this is going to go into the side garden, but we just placed them here because there was a blank wall. So we decided to put everything here. Let's go right back here into the back of the garden. Look at the bees. Still going. This one's resting. The dahlias are looking kind of tired, but there's still so much color in the garden. Look at that. Oh, so beautiful. Look at this. Holly Hill, Daydream. That's gorgeous. So many beautiful dahlias. Venus is just pumping out blooms left and right. I've been cutting these back because I don't want the bees to cross-pollinate these with some of our other dahlias, but it's so hard because they're so beautiful. So in this back border, we still have that open area, actually a few open areas that Sergey and I have been avoiding. Not really avoiding, but we've had other priorities. The planting strip, the side garden, like those are our two main things that we really want to focus our energy, time, and budgets on. So this area, I hope to take shape here soon because we do want to move, or I want to move this Avondale redbud. It's just not doing a lot for us over here. So maybe shift it somewhere else in the garden. It is beautiful in the springtime. I won't lie. It is a gorgeous tree. Over here, I did clean out the herb container, or the herb garden that we had, herb container garden that we had back here that Mom and I planted together. And I planted more of those double pansies, and I'm so thrilled at how these containers look. Just look at the, again, more flowers. I'm so obsessed with them. I can't get over it. So this little corner of the garden looks pretty good. The Superbena, again, still putting on a little bit of color. It's funny because as the temperatures have cooled, these have gotten a lot brighter. Or deeper, I guess. They're not as muted as they were when we first planted them. We definitely need to come in and cut some of our tomatoes back. I see a few tomatoes on the vine that still look okay that I'm going to harvest, and then we'll come in and just cut everything down and kind of wrap up this bed for the season. I do want to plant some bulbs, I think, in some of our beds. So I got to get them all prepped for that. And if I come back over here, you can see that our Ruby Falls redbud is transitioning, and it's a magnificent, magnificent color transition. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to move this tree out of here, because it does put on a beautiful fall color show. I just think it'd be happier somewhere else in the garden. And I also feel like it doesn't provide a ton for us back here. When I look at some of the trees back here, I think our coral bark really is a standout for us. Our Leland Gold Rider cypresses provide a lot of structure and color for us back here. Our Weeping Mulberry also provides a really fun structure for us. I just think this one could be somewhere else. Let me know what you guys think, if we should shift it. Maybe we bring it somewhere over here. That's an idea. Maybe like right there. I don't know though, because I have to get to my trellises. These are my sweet pea trellises that we like to plant on every year. So in fact, we actually have them, if I just go into the bed, we have them all the way down our garden, if you can see. So I have to be able, oh my gosh, I have to come in here and weed this bed. Anyways, I have to be able to come back here. So I wonder if that would block them too much, but maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking it. If I swing back over here, we also planted more pansies because apparently you can't have too many. So I just brought in more into this container, into this container. Look at this color. Look at that. Tell me that's not the most beautiful pansy you've ever seen. They're so stunning. And then we just have a little bit of pumpkins, a little bit of fall into the cut flower garden. Nothing too crazy going on, but I do love this little, almost like a vignette going on back here. This is giving me English country vibes, and I love it. Like, I will forever be inspired by the English countryside after a visit. I feel like I have unfinished business in the English countryside, so I cannot wait to go back. One of the things that I've really enjoyed in our garden this year is the rudbeckias. I definitely want to come in with more. In fact, I'm going to start a lot more from seed this year, which I'm excited about, just because they provide that beautiful color throughout the garden. They hold on to their blooms for such a long time, and I just think they're a really nice, solid structure in terms of a flowering perennial. So definitely going to bring more of those. And then back here, there's not a whole ton going on back here. Our Hollywood juniper is putting on quite a bit of size back there. There's a lot of actual fruit on them, which I'm excited about. We do want to come in and start harvesting our hops. We've been using them for projects, which has been really nice. And actually I've been giving a lot of them to some of our friends because they use them for projects as well. So it's always nice to have hops. They're just such a great thing, a great vine to grow in your garden. I'm still saving seeds from our cosmos, although the birds have been getting to them before I have. So I need to come in and just put organza bags all over them so we can make sure that we have some seeds left over. I've harvested some, but definitely not as many as I would like. All right, let's walk down this way here. I want to show you our crab apple. This is a lollipop crab apple, and I love this tree. I think it's so glorious. All of the little fruit, the birds really enjoy them. They're beautiful, beautiful little flowers in the springtime. And then you have just a, beautiful structure in the summertime, and then fall, here comes all of these little fruit, and it just makes this tree look so dreamy. Look at that. Isn't that so beautiful? Especially with some of our magnolias flowering right now. I can't believe that they're still flowering. So there's definitely some things that are pushing out blooms during unexpected times of the year, which is, also really fun. Our watermelon rudbeckia, such a winner in the garden. Highly recommend this variety. It stays on the shorter side, but it has a beautiful, bright, like pink fuchsia color. It just instantly draws your eyes to wherever you plant it. Highly recommend this perennial if you can grow it in your garden. Our autumn sedum, or autumn joy sedum, it's looking kind of brown. I mean, it's pretty brown. It flowered, it was beautiful, the bees enjoyed it. I'm still going to keep the seed heads on because I think it's a really nice structure. So I'll probably just leave them as be for now. We do have dahlias tucked in throughout the garden as well. Also, a fun little surprise, lysianthus are still blooming in the garden. Now these are definitely we're going to be repeating these a lot more in the garden because they're so great. However, I want to plant them more tightly together so they can support each other because they get knocked down quite a bit from the rain. And if you don't harvest them, they get kind of top heavy, but such a great flower, such a beautiful flower for the landscape. And they hold on to their blooms for so long. And as far as the vase life, these can be like up to 2 weeks in the vase. So they're such a great investment to make, and definitely a flower that you should grow for your landscape. The candy coral berries that we planted back here, I'm thinking we need to shift. I think what I want to do, because we are talking about shifting some of our peonies, I'm wondering if we shift the coral berries to the back and then that peony forward. I just feel, it feels a little out of place. I don't know why. I was really happy with where we planted it, but now if I step back, I just don't know. I don't know. Something's just not vibing over here, and I don't know what it is. So we might shift it somewhere. The other thing I do want to shift are our roses because they're so beautiful. This is our ice cap roses. They're so stunning when they're in bloom, but when they're not in bloom, I cut them back and then it's kind of an empty area. The one thing that really helped us in this part of the garden, this garden bed here, is the bubblegum Supertunia. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. My friend Janie at Dig Plant Water Repeat recommended these, and oh my gosh, she totally was right about these. They're so wonderful. Everybody deserves to grow these at least once because they're such a good performer. So they really saved us when our roses were not really doing much. So what I'm thinking is shifting all of the roses into one big group. So maybe like right over here. We are thinking of moving this maple out. So maybe we shift all of the roses, like a drift of them, right over here in this corner of the garden. I'm not 100% sure where I want these roses, but I do know that I want to do something else over here. We've had these roses in here for a couple of years, a few years now, I think. And I just think we could do something better. Like, I don't mind them, so it's not at the top of my list, but I do think we can do something a little bit more interesting right under our Shishigashira Lion's Head maple right over here. So to be determined, we don't know yet. The Shishigashira hasn't started transitioning yet, but as the season progresses, these are going to turn into a really beautiful, deep golden brown color. It's such a spectacular tree. I like it because it's a little bit more muted in terms of its fall color. So you're going to have that beautiful color in the backdrop, our borrowed view, and then this right here is just going to turn into that beautiful burnt orange. Not a lot going on back here in this corner of the garden. The deck we really haven't done much to. I did bring in some pumpkins, but I'd like to come in and start tidying up some of our Japanese maples. I am thinking I'm going to be planting like a low growing grass, or maybe even like a little ground cover situation, just because I think it would look beautiful. We typically plant pansies here, which I might do because I love to have pansies in these containers, and it provides a really beautiful color during fall time and winter time. So maybe that's the route we go, but I also want to just have something more permanent, I guess, in those containers. You can see the maples are starting to put on more color, more fall color. So that's always fun to see. And the hostas too. Now these I'll probably cut back, not quite yet because there's still a little bit of green to them, but I do want to come in and start just cutting back some of these spent flowers. I was holding on to them because I think the seed pods are so interesting. I'm going to leave our cone flowers right now because the birds have been enjoying them. So I like to leave these up until we're really like towards the end of the season when there's really nothing left. But you can see, look at that. They enjoy eating the seeds. So I leave them up for them. Our fall containers are looking really good back here as well. That was our dark one. And then this one back here is also looking really good. This is a summer container that we did not transition into fall, and it's doing beautifully. I love the way this container looks. This has a Fuyu persimmon that we planted together. One call out that I wanted to make is this purple haze scaevola. 20 out of 10. It's such a great annual to grow. We have some of it in the landscape. I love the way it's just dripping down. We actually have it in the other container back there as well. But what I wanted to say is it's such a great flower for containers, but also the landscape. It spreads really nicely. So you're going to see a lot more of this specific variety in our garden next year. So if you're interested in scaevola, try the purple haze. Really, really wonderful. It was such a great performer for us. Here it is in the landscape. It could have done a lot better had we fertilized and stayed on top of it. But I just wanted to show you how nice it also looks in the landscape. All right, guys, that will wrap it up for our October garden tour. I'm so happy that we're able to come out and show you guys the garden right now. It's just, I'm so happy with this October. It's just been such a blessing. Like truly, truly, it's been a blessing. We've been having a lot of rain, but we've been having a lot of beautiful dry days as well. So I've just been like counting my blessings every day because it's so nice to be able to be out in the garden planting, again, tagging the dahlias. That is the most important thing for me right now. It's the only thing I really care about right now is just making sure they're all tagged up appropriately so we don't make any mistakes. But anyways, super happy with how the garden is looking. Every year, I feel like the colors get better and better as the trees mature, especially the trees, because they just really start like settling in and they start putting on more of a color show with the things that transition anyway. So it's always fun to see like what are the trees going to be doing this time of year, especially with our maples. I'm like, are you gonna be more yellow this year? Are you gonna be more orange? Like, what are you gonna do? So it's always fun to see that color show. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's garden tour. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today in my garden, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.